City of Twinsburg regular council meeting, Tuesday, September 25th, 2018, 7:40 p.m., Twinsburg Government Center, council chambers. Shannon, please call the roll.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Here.
Mr. Steele?
Here.
Ms. McFerrin?
Here.
Mr. Barr?
Here.
Mr. Ballin?
Here.
Mr. Fury?
Here.
Mr. Scafidi?
Here.
Please rise and join us for the invocation and pledge of allegiance. Mr. Fury.
Father, we seek your guidance for the business that is before us. In planning for the future of the city of Twinsburg, give us vision, guide us in making decisions that are not self-serving, but for the betterment of the community, so that we continue to move in a positive direction. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next we need approval of the minutes from September 11th, 2018. Any changes or corrections? The minutes will stand as written. We have no awards or presentations, right? Audience participation?
Yes. Daisy Walker?
You know, when you wear fashion, what can you expect? Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Maestro, council, and staff. Daisy Walker, and I'm doing this for the Environmental Commission. I do want to thank you, by the way, this is another thank you, Mr. Mayor and council, for really supporting the Environmental Commission and everything that you have done to make this, the past Saturday, very convenient for us, and you probably know what I'm talking about. Anyway, this thank you is to the Environmental Commissioners, Chuck Bonacci, Carol Brandsletter, Patrick Jeffers, Hallie Shipley, Michael Schuler, Scott Barr, who's our counsel, and Zan Denker, she's our teen rep. Also, Public Works Department, Steve Forino and Chris Sheminsky, and the shredded guy, Sean Stanmeyer. I mean, just fabulous. We really had a good time. And Sam, we missed you. Mr. Mayor, we missed you because you're always there, but we know you can't make it all. Okay, and this says, I bet you didn't think anyone noticed all that you did on Saturday, September 15th. Before 8:30 a.m., Chuck Bonacci was there with sufficient water, Gatorade, chips, and donuts. That morning was extremely hot. I mean, it was hot. We were sweating. I think I lost about 5-10 pounds. Cars were lined up from Ravenna Road to the Public Works garages before 8:30 a.m. To accommodate the motorists and prevent a traffic hazard, we moved the start time back to 8:30 a.m. Bags and boxes taken from the trunks and seats of cars and trucks were full. Some of the bags were wet, but just about all of them were filled to the brim, very heavy. We welcomed each driver, and the Environmental Commission, they all welcomed each driver, and then they left them with the words of encouragement. Thanks for coming, and we will see you again next year. In business, it is important to have people like the ones who were there on Saturday that you can count on. And all of those were reliable people. I just want to let them know that having you on the Environmental Commission, Scott, by being our working environmental rep, team, and staff, make all the difference that you are one of the reasons for our great success. It was great working with all of you, and that is why it is important for me to take this moment to say thanks so much for all that you do, because you did support our annual Shredded, and thanks again for your hard work. It's really easy to thank people while you're there, but to make a public announcement from my heart, And it was just great because I do have to say that the city of Twinsburg, the best city in Ohio, best residents in Ohio, the best volunteer people, right, Sam? The best
Right.
volunteer
Absolutely. I
people.
agree.
And I am so proud of the commitment that they have and the heart and the hard work. They all came out. This is the first time all of the environmental commissioners came out, and we all worked before 8:30 until after 12 o'clock. So I just want to say thanks to all of you for believing in us. Thanks again, Scott, for all that you've done and being
you.
committed to us. And all I can say is thanks, and we'll see you next year.
Absolutely. Thanks. Thank you,
Thank you,
Daisy.
Daisy. Is there any other audience
There is
participation?
none.
There is none, okay. We move on to council communication and committee reports. Mr. Barr.
So, as Ms. Walker so eloquently stated, we had our environmental shredding day this past Saturday the 15th, so 2 weeks ago Saturday. It was a great success. We did start early, and we ran until just about a little after 12 o'clock. We shredded 10,135 pounds of material. So we saved approximately 1,900 gallons of oil, 70,000 gallons of water, and roughly 30 cubic yards of landfill space. So that's like one of those big green construction dumpsters. It's a 30 cubic yard dumpster. Really, like Daisy said, it was awesome. We had everybody show up, and everybody was more than willing to help. And thank you to all the environmental commissioners. The public works guys, again, Chris and his crew did awesome. Thank you, Mayor, for the OT on that. And we had a wonderful guy from Shredded. He was really good. He was a hustler. He was the best one in the last 4 or 5 years I've been doing this. He just, one thing after another. October 13th, we have the Environmental Commission and Community Cleanup Day in Tinkers Creek Watershed. It'll be at the pavilion over by Parks and Rec. We'll have free food sponsored by Twinsburg Township after, of course, we pick up and beautify our community. And the next environmental meeting is Tuesday, October 2nd at 7 o'clock here in Council Chambers. I believe we have a CIC meeting coming up this Thursday, which is the 27th, and it is at 6 o'clock in the jury room. And we had Finance Committee tonight and heard from several of our department heads on their capital requests for this year. And I'd like to applaud them for really getting down and dirty with the numbers. I think we're really close to having a balanced budget. I think, Sarah, you said we were pretty darn close. 2%?
2% away.
2%. And I'll let Councilman Scafidi elaborate a little bit more about that, but that was a great meeting. Our next Finance Committee meeting is the 23rd of October. Before the council meeting, I'll be here in Council Chambers at 5:30. And that is all that I have this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bellin.
Good evening. I also attended this evening's Finance Committee meeting. I got to have dinner last night at the soft opening of Aaron and Moses at the clubhouse. I'd like to thank Chef Will, Sarah, and all the staff for an outstanding experience and outstanding meal. I'm really looking forward to everyone experiencing the restaurant and the clubhouse as well. Golf Advisory Board met on Tuesday, September 18th. That meeting actually was at the clubhouse as well. The Golf Advisory Board got a tour of the facility from Ms. Fector, and then we had our meetings afterwards. All things are going good on the golf course this year. The aeration is going to start, I think, about October 1st is what they said. So weather depending, you can keep playing through till the aeration, until the weather really turns. Next Golf Advisory Board meeting will be Tuesday, November 27th, 6:30 p.m. right here in Council Chambers. That's all I have for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. McBain.
The next Parks and Rec meeting will be October 25th. Community Relations is going to be this Thursday, the 27th. Do we know when the next safety meeting is?
We don't have one scheduled.
Jana, will you work on that for us? Thank you. I also attended the Capital Improvement and Finance Committee meeting today, and I'd like to thank all of the department heads for their work on the budgets. Friends of the Twinsburg Parks next meeting is October 15th at 7:30 at rush hour. Friday, I had the opportunity to attend the Chamber Golf outing. There were many compliments on the condition of the golf course, on the banquet facility itself, and on the food. I also attended the soft opening last night at the clubhouse, and there was many great comments on the food and everyone's attitude and positive focus on the whole opening. So the official opening is Wednesday night, so any residents that are been waiting a long time should step on over. That's all I have.
Thank you. Planning Commission met on September 17th, and they did recommend an extended conditional use certificate for a temporary classroom trailer at New Adventures Daycare. So at this time, I'd like to make a motion to extend a conditional use certificate for a temporary classroom trailer at New Adventures Daycare.
I'll second.
Okay, I made the motion. It was seconded by Mr. Fury. Shannon, please call the roll.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes 7-0. My other committees did not meet. Mr. Scafidi.
Thank you. Good evening. The Board of Zoning Appeals met on September 12th. There was one appeal, number 12, 2018. A Tucker Court resident came in and was looking for a garage and living space addition. Specifically, they were looking for a 14-foot variance. The board heard the applicant speak and approved that variance by a 3-0 vote. So at this time, I would like to make a motion that we waive the 30-day waiting period. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Steele seconds. Any discussion? Shannon, please call the roll.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Okay. At a future meeting, the board asked me, I'm going to be bringing up cul-de-sacs in these subdivisions and the number of homes that we're allowing to be built in these cul-de-sacs. Every time that a resident wants to do something, they're requiring variances because, in their opinion, we're basically, to put it in a nutshell, putting too many houses on this small amount of property, okay, in these cul-de-sacs. And so they'd like to make a change there, or at least have the city look at this. So again, in the future, I'd like to talk about that a little bit further and get into that a little bit more, but that'll be coming. The other thing, as Mr. Barr mentioned, we did have a Finance Committee meeting tonight, and the various department heads were here to discuss their capital budgets, their capital purchases, as well as their budgets as a whole. We went through each and every one of them, and I think I'll repeat what Scott said, though, because it's worth repeating. All the department heads, I think, did a very good job this year. They were detailed reports we got, and they showed what the original requests were and what they deleted in order to stay under budget per the mayor's request and the finance director's request. So I think, and as they mentioned, the 2% with our budget this year, I think we're doing pretty good, and everybody really sharpened their pencils, and I don't think there was a lot of wants on there. There were more needs that the departments need. So I do appreciate what everybody did, and look forward to our next meeting on the 23rd of October, when we see the balance or the remainder of the other department heads. I'll be there to go over their budgets as well. Other than that, Sarah did mention the note for the golf course. She talked about that a little bit, and I'm sure we'll be hearing more about that too in the near future. Other than that, that's all I have tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Steele?
ARB met on the 20th. They had 8 cases. The new things in, they approved 2 houses in the New Shepherd Preserve development, another new house on Shepherd Road, and then the gentleman with they got the 14-foot variance from the BZA. They had a discussion back and forth with him about the addition he wants to put on his house. He didn't want to put a window on the one wall because that is the wall that faces the 14th, 14th. What is it now? The 5th? Yeah, the 15th hole. And he already has a collection of like 30-something ball marks on the side of his house, and he felt that it would not be a great thing to put glass. It would be inviting disaster, especially since he has 6 large pine trees on that side of the house. So they made it a recommendation as opposed to a requirement. That's it. No, my other committees have met.
Thank you. Mr. Fury?
Thank you and good evening. I'd like to thank the members of the Capital Improvement Board for their work this year. The chairman of the board is Dave Painter, Angelo Garcia Polo, Dennis Kaplan, and Greg Selman are the other members. They met on September 13th, 18th, 20th, reviewed all the capital requests for the city from all the multiple departments, and the chairman, Dave Painter, did his recommendation earlier to the Finance Committee, so their work for the year is done, but I appreciate the time they put in, the effort they did reviewing the capital improvements, which is a charter requirement for the city of Twinsburg. This Thursday, September 27th at 5 o'clock, there'll be a community relations board at the city of Twinsburg with Reminderville, the township, the school system, and the library participating to keep each other apprised of what's going on in those entities. And also there'll be a CIC meeting on September 27th at 6 p.m. And that's all I have this evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, that is, next we have mayor's report. Sorry, I forgot about you.
All right, good evening, everyone. Just a couple things. So I did attend the chamber outing. It's always a great event. It was nice having the banquet center complete and hosted in there. Everything went smooth, and we had a great day. Fortunately, everything got done before the huge storm came in on Friday, but always a well-attended event. So a couple things that have gone on. We had our Blues Fest, which ended up being just a great evening. I heard some great things about the bands as well as everything that went on that day. So I know that's something we'll probably be looking at doing again in upcoming years. But I know music happened starting around 5:30 and went all the way to around 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. So Parks and Rec put a lot of time and effort into our concert series this year. We were fortunate to have beautiful 75-degree and sunny evenings for pretty much all of them. So it was a really successful concert series for the city this year. A couple events coming up. We do have Truck or Treat. I know it's toward the end of the month, but I just want everyone to get on their schedule. That's October 28th. That's a huge event we do at the fitness center. We bring in all different kinds of vehicles from the city, and kids dress up and run around and scream and get candy and have a lot of fun. But I'm well past attending that with my own children, but I always go just to see what I missed back when they were toddlers. And so. But I encourage you to put that on your schedule. That's always a great time. Next, we have the Fire Open House, which is coming up. That's October 11th, starting around 5:30. Another well-attended event, so we usually pretty much pack the firehouse. But a lot of stuff going on where kids will be able to kind of touch and see and talk to our firemen. There's usually food there and a lot of things for the kids to do. A couple of things I just want to recognize. We've got, with all that happens here in the city, we're pretty fortunate that we do have some weather issues, but usually we're pretty safe in Northeast Ohio with some of the catastrophes that happen. But we've got Assistant Chief Basso that's down in South Carolina right now. And we've got an arrangement with an emergency organization for him to be down there, but he's still going to be donating a lot of his time and having long days outside of what his normal duties would be here. So I just want to recognize him for traveling down there. I know it's something that we allowed him to do, so between the chief and myself agreed that, look, people are in need, and they've requested his help, so we were able to send him down there. And then another thing I found out the other day that was really not announced by anyone was I was talking to Officer Carcione, and we just call him E. But he's our canine dog patrolman, and he had actually just come back from, I believe it was South Carolina also, and had taken vacation time to volunteer and go down and help a new canine officer train a dog. Heard she was struggling, and ended up taking personal time off. I want to recognize him because he didn't announce it to anyone, he didn't tell anyone. He knows of my interest because of my close bond with Caesar now. But showed me some pictures of the work he was doing down there and some videos. I saw him at Starbucks and he was off duty taking his car in to get serviced. And it's just neat that we have, guys kind of stepping up to do things on their own time and, helping out other, whether it's law enforcement or fire departments around the country. So anyway, that's all I have this evening. And I think from a report standpoint, yes, Chief.
The open house is October.
October 10th.
That was a typo I left on the report.
Okay, all right. So October 10th is the fire open house.
Do we have a projected return date for Steve?
This weekend, unless they ask to extend his deployment, it was a 14-day deployment.
Okay.
And do you have a report? Is anybody reporting? No. Colette?
I'll be quick. HR-wise, I'm still continuing getting that onboarding program going with all the focus on, the hiring at the golf course and the Kronos. It's been kind of a back burner project, but it is going to be a nice enhancement to our applicant tracking system. It'll kind of take off where the applicant tracking system, it'll start where that ends, and it'll bring all the forms that the employees have to fill out will be done and submitted electronically, and then filed and being able to review all that electronically. So we're looking forward to getting that up and running, but like I said, it may be taking a little bit longer than we had hoped. The flu shots that we're having for our employees are on the 27th, and then again on the 27th is just a 2-hour here at City Hall for most employees, and then on October 5th, we're having a 1-hour flu shot for the fire department from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. The Kronos test period is being extended. We had hoped to have that be, the test period was going to be 4 weeks, which was 2 pay periods, but we're going to be extending it like to the end of November because of all the different little nuances. And just to give you like a little synopsis of, Sarah Maduri sent me this list today. We have 52 pay rules, 151 work schedules, 67 pay codes, 6 timesheet types, 445 current active employees, and 527 employees total so far this year. So these are the kinds of things that are having to be taken into consideration as we roll out this Kronos program. It's just a lot to deal with, and we want to get it right before we go live. The hiring at Glen Eagles is moving along. We still have dishwashers. We're still hiring some prep cooks and some facilities attendants out there, which is more of a custodial kind of a facilities kind of person. We've had a couple little sort of mini job fairs with kind of mixed reviews as far as success on those. We have hired 24 people out there so far though, so just have a few more openings. And then lastly, in HR, we have started our Absentee Negotiations this week. Actually, we started last week, continuing this week. Civil service-wise, there was no meeting in September. Our next meeting is October 11th. And IT-wise is just all the technology out at Glen Eagles has been incredible. It's the point of sale system, it's the clocks, network access, Wi-Fi access, the projector system, TVs, music, phones, the screens that they use in the kitchen for the orders. There's door security and cameras, and so just all the technology out there has really kept the IT team busy for the last few weeks. That's all I have.
I have
Thanks.
a question.
Yeah.
What came up last night, where are we posting the jobs? Someone suggested that maybe some of these jobs, like the dishwashers, could be publicized at the high school for high school kids?
Well, we are on Indeed.com, and anybody who's looking for a job, they're on Indeed.com.
Mhm.
But they're on our website also. We did have a couple of ads in the bulletin. They're kind of expensive, so we had those ads in the bulletin.
Right.
It's just, I don't know. I mean, we have had a decent amount of applicants,
Mhm.
and I'll send them out the emails, and I'll say, call me, contact me if you're interested in coming in for an interview, and then I don't hear anything
I
on
thought
some
that
of
was a
them,
good
you know.
suggestion,
So we've
though.
had some success, but it's just tough right now. The market's just tough, so. But we're on Indeed, and we do have some openings still, so spread the word.
And we'll reach out to the schools. I think.
But yeah.
I
we
just
can-
thought
we
it was a
can
good
do
suggestion
that
from a
Specifically,
resident.
sure, yeah.
Some of there, and we can find, I mean, there's certain restrictions that high school kids
Right.
have on working and hours and those kind of
Right.
things.
Right, but yes.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank
All right.
you.
I think Amy has something there.
Yeah, all right, wow.
Good evening, Council. I just want to give a quick update on some of the construction going on around the city that you'll see this fall. Ravenna Road, we've been under construction for a while. It should be done in the next couple weeks. There will be Saturday paving out there in front of the schools, so we're trying to work with that. I know there's games and things going on Saturdays, but I'm not sure if it's this Saturday or next Saturday, but it'll be done in the next couple weeks. On State Route 91, south of 480, there's a couple things that will occur on Saturdays. We're doing some manhole adjustments, and there's a new business there that has to tie into water and sewer, and unfortunately that's in the road on the opposite side of the road. So that will be on a Saturday. We're trying to work with traffic control as far as when it's the least busy. Finally, we've been under construction now for about a month up at the State Route 91 north of Glenwood. We will shortly be going into a traffic change up there. You'll see them put down temporary pavement, which would be on the Corbett's farm side of the road, and we'll be shifting traffic over there and closing down the intersection of Ethan's and Glenwood. That should be occurring here as early, Ethan's and 91. That should be occurring probably sometime next week, depending on weather and getting that pavement in. We will do a phone blast to everybody so that we'll give that update. We also post things on our web page. We have a traffic advisory you can sign up for, and we try and put those blasts out too. So anytime you want any traffic information, we have it out there on our website, and engineering has it. So hopefully that gives a quick fall update on some of the construction going on in the area.
Thank you.
Thanks, Amy. Thanks, Amy.
Maybe a quick question. This is probably a Chris Campbell question. Do we as a city own any of the digital signs, the towable digital signs that like someone has?
Nope, all we own is, police department has like the ones for speed.
Okay. Just to those, I mean, Solon's always got those up, posted this, closing
Can you
that,
rent those?
Oh,
holiday
yeah.
traffic. Yeah, I mean, they're
Yeah,
just.
we would lease them, or the contractor would lease them to
Okay.
them.
Thank you.
Will we have additional police officers in there to direct that traffic? Because it did back up into the roundabout last week, and I know Chief Nogu's responded very quickly to
Typically-
get somebody out there.
Typically, the contractor would, if there's additional police that would be needed, they would contract with outside.
Amy, do you know
agencies
that?
to do
If there's going to be some sort of police helping to direct the traffic so it doesn't back up into the roundabout. It was backing up into the roundabout earlier this week, and I called Chief Noga, and he responded very quickly.
Right. When they first started into their flagger construction, which they have now, which is to get this temporary pavement in and some water line work, they tried to use some temporary signals. They quickly learned that didn't work in the heat of rush hour, so they are doing flagger operations to move that through. So you will get delays depending on, time of day and things like that. As soon as we move and shift, we will have one dedicated lane northbound, one dedicated lane southbound, and will be a barrier between you and the construction. So that should help ease traffic through there a little bit. Right now, we're pinched down to only one lane, and they're sharing it for both northbound and southbound.
Okay. Thank you.
One more.
Yes.
Ms. House, you walked in just in time for
Oh.
a finance report.
I got it ready for you. Taxes? Nostalgia? No? Just me?
Mike's open.
I wanted to say thanks to capital improvement boards and council and department heads for hanging in as we move through the budget process. And our taxes are still looking good through September. We collected just over 1.6 million, which is up just under 1% from last year's September collections. And we're up a little under 4.25 for the year, 715,000. So we're still doing good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other reports?
That's all we have.
Okay, we're going to move on to legislation. First, we have Ordinance 95, 2018.
An ordinance authorizing the purchase of a John Deere tractor and mower for use by the service department.
Okay, this is the second reading. Next, we have Resolution 98, 2018.
A resolution accepting the amount and rate as determined by the Summit County Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying as the county fiscal officer.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt Resolution 98, 2018. Is there a second?
No second.
Okay, I made the motion. It was seconded by Mr. Fury. This was something we had since spring, right? No changes since the spring. Correct.
It's the tax budget.
Any discussion? Shannon, please call the roll.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Bard?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Resolution 98, 2018 passes by a 7-0 vote. Next, we have Resolution 99, 2018.
A resolution in support of the adoption of H.R. 5724, Restoring Community Oversight of Sober Living Homes Act of 2018, introduced to the United States Congress and currently sitting in subcommittee.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt Resolution 99, 2018.
I'll second.
After we.
Oh, yes,
Yes.
sorry.
I'm sorry. I'd like to make a motion to adopt Resolution 99, 2018. Is there a second?
I'll second.
I made the motion. It was seconded by Mr. Scafidi. Discussion.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I don't often have a lot of things to discuss, obviously. So this bill was introduced in the House on May 9th of this year, and there's two parts of it, and I guess I just wanted to clarify that the first part of the bill that says this bill amends the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act to remove substance use disorder services from the list of essential health benefits that must be covered by health plans. Then it goes into the second portion that we're supporting. So I just wanted to point out that the resolution is to support the second part, which is restoring the community oversight of sober living homes Act of 2018.
Thank you. Any more discussion?
Yeah, I just would like to say that I'm glad to see this on our agenda tonight, although the concentration of sober homes has been in Ward 1 and in particular Glenwood Acres. That is not the only area in the city that this could happen. There could be homes operating right now in our city as sober homes that we don't even know about. So I think that it's important that we support that part, as Mrs. McFerrin said, of this resolution of House Bill 5724. And again, I'm just glad to see it on there and hope that it gets passed tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
Yes. Earlier, I spoke with Mr. Maestros about this resolution, telling him that I thought we should do this. And in the conversation, when Dave and I were talking, he said one of the problems that is that there needs to be more people sign on to the bill in Congress. Is that correct, David?
Coming out, it's in subcommittee right now. Coming out of subcommittee, it's my understanding to move, once they make whatever changes, it would need at least 5 members supporting it, is my understanding, so.
Okay.
Of that subcommittee.
And of the subcommittee, or just 5 other members of the?
After it comes out of subcommittee,
Okay.
it'll be 5.
And one of the things that we discussed was Mr. Joyce, and the fact that you had taken it to him or talked to his gentleman here in our building, and Mr. Joyce is, the person here indicated that Mr. Joyce would not be in favor of changing the federal law. Okay? So I think if we're gonna do this, we need to not only do it here, we need to get it out to the other cities surrounding us, and we need to get pressure for our congressman so that he sees that this is something that we want to do. I would say, Dave, if we pass this tonight, that should be walked down the hallway tomorrow and given to the representatives, whoever it is here in town. Nobody wants to stop people from getting treatment and getting places to go, but we do want to try and control those in our communities. And we got to get people off sitting on the fence rail. They got to get off the fence rail and tell us whether yes or no. If Mr. Joyce isn't gonna be receptive to this, I think people at Twinsburg and Northeast Ohio need to know.
Section 2 does reflect that a copy is to be served to Mr. Joyce.
Okay.
of the resolution itself. We put that language in there. And I think at this time, Mr. Joyce has not taken a position one way or another because it's too early. It hasn't come out of subcommittee. Generally, it'll come out of subcommittee, and there's going to be some changes most likely coming out of subcommittee that they can actually act on, so.
You indicated to me that the conversation you had with his representative here in our building is that he did not want to change federal law. That's what you told me.
I think what I heard directly was is that they were waiting to see what the final draft was. That's what I heard when I
would just
had the
recommend that you
conversation.
talk to David Joyce.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
would encourage you to have your own conversation.
And really, one of the things when we deal with House bills on our Realtor Political Action Committees is the people really need to respond and correspond with their council people and state reps about it. So all residents should be encouraged to let their voices know.
Not only that, I agree, our residents should be coming down here and knocking on his door and telling him how they feel, but we should. And we're really serious that we want to get back control on the local level and on some of this thing. Then I think we should be contacting other cities and saying, this is what we're doing. If we're not, then this is all for naught, guys. Nothing's gonna happen. So, I'm done, thank you.
Any further discussion? Shannon, please call the roll.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Resolution 99, 2018 passes by a 7-0 vote. Next, we have Ordinance 100, 2018.
An ordinance authorizing revolving petty cash funds for various departments, repealing all ordinances in conflict therewith, and declaring an emergency.
I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules on Ordinance 100, 2018, place it on its third and final reading, and declare it an emergency. Is there a second?
I'll second. Yield.
I made the motion, it was seconded by Mr. Barr. We need it on emergency because we are opening up tomorrow, and we need to get some money for incidentals in the
And
drawers.
setting up the drawers.
These are for, these are for the cash drawers. So
Right.
there's, your question was, is oversight. So we have one main cash drawer in the restaurant that's controlled by the bar. So there are no other cash drawers. But we need cash in the cash drawers to function. So.
Okay, thank you. Quarters.
Any further discussion? Shannon, please call the roll.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Emergency clause passes 7-0. Now I'd like to make a motion to adopt Ordinance 100, 2018. Is there a second?
Second.
I made the motion, it was seconded by Mr. Barr. Any further discussion? Shannon, please call the roll.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Ordinance 100, 2018 passes by a 7-0 vote. Now we'll move on to unfinished business, new business, and miscellaneous. Mr. Fury.
I will actually be seeing Mr. Dave Joyce in a few days, and we'll bring this up. I've found him to be reasonable throughout the years, and supporting him in this election. If anybody needs a yard sign, I have several, and I'd be happy to deliver them for you. Thank you.
Mr. Steele?
I have nothing further to say.
Mr. Scafidi?
Thank you. I have one item. I would like to, at this time, make a motion. My motion is that City Council does not oppose the liquor permit for Michael's Sandwich and Cafe Incorporated located on Deere Road, and authorize the clerk to submit the form to the Ohio Division of Liquor Control. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Fury seconds. Any discussion? No. Hearing none. Shannon, call the roll.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Thank you, council. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. I just had I had a couple things. I would like to thank the Capital Improvements Board and the department heads for their hard work on the budget. I know we aren't always easy, and I appreciate your hard work. And Shannon, I would really like to thank you for the monthly calendars. You're the one doing them, but they're wonderful. And that's all I have. Ms. McFerrin?
I have something. I was pretty excited. We were all invited to the White House by David Joyce and the other Congress people in Northeast Ohio, and for a conference, and I was able to attend. And then I got a thank you note from the White House, and it was signed by Donald Trump. And I wanted to read just 2 paragraphs because it starts with, "Thank you for attending the White House conference hosted by the Office of Intergovernmental Affairs. My administration is committed to building relationships with leaders at all levels of government. In doing so, we gain valuable insight on how we can best work together to serve the American people. Your engagement, feedback, and continued partnership will help us identify and respond to the critical issues facing your community and our country." And when it was an honor to go, and I really feel like being there, that was really the sense of the whole conference, of how we all best work together. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Bowen?
Just one thing this evening, I want to thank the Twinsburg Fire Department. We had the Corbett's Farm block party, and they came out and they brought the ambulance and one of the trucks and answered questions and took pictures and just made it a really good event for the kids. So thank you very much. That's all I have for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Barr?
I just want to wish the staff at Aaron and Moses a good opening day tomorrow.
Yes.
They're open for dinners for the next couple of weeks, I believe, and then we'll be open for lunch and dinner. So we had the privilege of dining there last night, and the food was excellent, and I encourage everybody to come down and give it a shot. That's all I have.
Thank you. Mayor?
Nothing else for me this evening.
Mr. Maestros?
Nothing, thank you.
Shannon?
Nothing, thank you.
Sarah, are you on that list?
Nothing, thank you.
Oh, Mr. Scafidi has another.
I would just like to recommend a special guest that we have in our audience tonight. We have our former finance director, Karen House, here. Karen, welcome back.
Mark, can you zoom in on her? Do you have a camera that'll zoom in on her?
As a set on the game show, please.
It's been zoomed in for 10 minutes.
You have to speak into the microphone, Karen.
Yeah, you have to come up.
Oh,
You have
yes.
to come up.
We need your name. Yes.
So I did come back from the soft opening, and I have to say it's beautiful. I'm so proud of it. It's just I can't believe it. When I left, it was just a shell and just the walls and none of the aesthetics that are up now, though. So congratulations, and I wish much success with that golf clubhouse. I'm rooting for you guys. I know you guys are going to do well. One other thing I'd like to say is I want to say thank you so much for all the love and support on the loss of my mom. That was very meaningful, and I appreciate
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I did have one other thing. Karen did send a letter to council. And I'll just read some of what she has there. A special note to thank you all for the beautiful floral arrangement and all the kind words of support. You didn't have to do what you did, but you all did. And for that, I am grateful. Karen. So, I think it's just that she's back.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. We should. So at this time, I will adjourn the meeting.
From our petty cash.
Yeah, baby.
We had discussions on a